I'm Robin Murdoch, live outside Detroit Police Headquarters, where an 8-year-old boy who was shot in the head remains in extremely critical condition at this hour. Where the investigation stands and some of the concerns the chief has in my live report. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning, Robin. The UAW strike now in its 20th day with no settlement in sight. Coming up, we're learning new details about Ford's latest offer to the union. This as more workers face layoffs. The latest ahead.
Working for you. Fox 2 News live at 11 starts now.
More on that, but so much to get to this morning. Good morning, and thanks for being with us on this Wednesday. I'm Lange.
Yeah, I'm Brandon Hudson. New at 11, a Warren man is now formally charged in connection with his wife's death. A disturbing discovery led to this arrest.
And sadly, this crime happening in October, which happens to be Domestic Violence Awareness Month. According to the Macomb County Prosecutor's Office, 56-year-old Ricardo Orozco was arrested Saturday after police were called to a gas station. That's where officers say they found Orozco sitting in the driver's seat of his Dodge Durango, and his wife's body was in the back seat of his SUV. Police say she had been stabbed to death. Orozco has been charged with second-degree murder and was given a $2 million bond. He's due back in court later this month.
Other news now, and this is something we have seen far too often.
Yes.
An 8-year-old is in the hospital fighting to survive after he is shot in the head with an unsecured gun while other young children are in the home.
And this happened at a home on Detroit's west side. The child is reportedly in extremely critical condition. Fox 2's Robin Murdoch joining us live with the latest. And Robin, one day later and still really more questions than answers here.
Yeah, Amy and Brandon, police really do have a lot of questions and a lot of concerns about this. Why was this gun not locked up in the first place? And why, when you have several adults in the home, why did no one call 911 right away? Instead, police say it took them 30 minutes. And as you know, in a situation like this, every second counts.
We've been here too many times, and here we are again. Where it did not have to happen. We did not have to have another young child in our community shot, and we should be sick and appalled by it and just absolutely tired of it.
Detroit's top cop voicing his frustrations following a shooting on the city's west side that left an 8-year-old boy in what's being described as extremely critical condition. What's also alarming, none of the 4 adults there at the time tried to get him help until a half hour later.
There was a 30-minute delay in calling 911, and certainly that concerns us when you've got an 8-year-old shot in a home. It seems like everyone would be urgently either taking the child to the hospital or calling 911.
That young boy suffered a single gunshot wound to the head. Right now, investigators are trying to figure out who pulled the trigger. Did the 8-year-old find the gun, or perhaps did one of the other 3 kids inside the home in the 14,800 block of Snowden near the Schaefer Highway get their hands on it instead?
I didn't even know they had weapons in their house, though, because of the way they, the way they be acting and stuff like that. And
17 years, never seen this. Yeah. Never in my whole entire life. This is real sad, very sad.
At last check, investigators still had not tracked down the gun in question, and we're still trying to make sense as to why all the adults were still sleeping at noon, as they told investigators out at that scene on Tuesday. We've also learned both police and Child Protective Services are familiar with the home and those who live in it. In fact, CPS was just there a few weeks ago.
There's no kind way of putting it, right? There's no nice words that you can say to tell people to put the guns away, secure the weapons. You know, everybody's got to have a zillion guns and be tough. But what's tough is when you've got a dead child or a child that's been shot like this one who's fighting for their lives.
Now, according to police, one of the adults who does live in that home is known to have multiple weapons and was also arrested for carrying a weapon illegally. Of course, when their investigation is complete, a report will be sent to the prosecutor's office regarding possible charges, and we'll let you know what happens with this. For now, we are live outside Detroit Police Headquarters. I'm Robin Murdoch for Fox 2 News.
Robin, this is so disturbing on so many levels. I'm wondering, do we know the relationship of the parents to this child or the people who were in the house? Were they parents or some other relative, friends? Do we know the relation?
You know, I did check in with investigators earlier this morning to try and get an update on the situation and try to get some of those questions answered. They have not divulged more information on exactly who was in that home. We do know that there were 4 adults in the home that were sleeping at the time. We also know that there were 4 children in the home, including that 8-year-old who was shot, and the children were between the ages of 1 and 8. So a lot of people in that home, and unfortunately, none of the adults called 911 right away. So let's just hope that this 8-year-old pulls through. Back to you, Amy.
Unbelievable. All right, thanks so much as always, Robin Murdoch. We appreciate you. Brent.
Amy, what a scene over my shoulder at a senior complex in Southgate. Flames and smoke shoot from the roof. Today, dozens of seniors need a place to live. The chaos unfolded yesterday afternoon at the Meadows of Southgate off of Allen Road. We're told the fire spread quickly, and it took a while for crews to get it under control.
You can see where it started, the second middle floor right there. The flames were coming out. It caused the top balcony on fire. Then it went up into the ceiling part.
It went up into the attic, and once it got in the attic, above the fire suppression, above the sprinkler system, and it just chased around the building.
Investigators say there were no serious injuries. 3 residents and 2 first responders went to the hospital. They're expected to recover. At least 50 people have been displaced.
And another fire breaking out this morning, this one inside an antique store in southwest Detroit. Firefighters on the scene on Michigan Avenue, just south of I-94 for hours. We're told the business was pretty packed, full of merchandise. The fire spreading easily through the small building.
Companies first on the scene found fire on the first floor, extended basement and second floor. Did a search. Luckily, no life lost. We could not find anybody in there.
Now, fire officials say they were told squatters may have started the fire. They'll be looking into whether or not it is a case of arson.
The mayor of Inkster is in big trouble with the feds for pay-to-play allegations. Prosecutors say that Patrick Wimberly demanded cash payments related to the sale of city property. According to the prosecutors, Wimberly received monthly cash bribes totaling $50,000 to secure the property's purchase. The indictment does not name the person who paid the bribes, but if convicted, Wimberly faces up to 10 years in prison. He has not commented on the charges.
And the UAW strike against Detroit's Big Three now entering day number 20. And Ford has revealed details of its newest offer to the UAW. The automaker says its 7th offer includes what it calls record pay and benefits. That includes a worker pay raise of more than 20%. Also, cost of living allowances for inflation. Additionally, all tiers would be eliminated. Average new hires would earn 6 figures by the 4th year. Temporary employees would be included in profit sharing and full ratification bonus. Ford says this is the strongest offer the company has made since August 29th. So far, there's been no comment from the UAW. And meanwhile, more than 200 workers at the General Motors Toledo plant off the job as the UAW strike continues.
Another round of layoffs due to this work stoppage, creating a very tense back and forth. Fox 2's Dave Kinchin tells us about the latest development as the walkouts continue to cause wide-ranging impacts.
More than 200 workers at GM's Toledo Propulsion Systems are now laid off, and one of the latest ripple effects of the UAW's strike now in its 3rd week. But spirits are anything but down for union members we talked with.
Man, we can keep this going forever. The energy, the people here.
Stellantis workers picketing across town say they aren't fazed by the new GM layoffs, which follow union leadership expanding their protest last Friday.
The layoffs are part of the process. All right, we're all taking a cut. Everybody's taking a cut. What did we give up in 2008? The union gave up their lives, their pensions.
The UAW gave GM a counteroffer after directing more than 2,000 workers at Delta Township Assembly in Lansing to walk off the job. But how much that offer moves the needle, if at all, remains to be seen. GM did say the 3rd quarter sales were up more than 21% with pickups and SUVs despite the ongoing strike.
Well, surprisingly, so far the strike has had very little impact on both sales and prices in the marketplace.
Tyson Jomini, Vice President of Data and Analytics at J.D. Power, weighs in on the impact of the strike on current sales, including a Stellantis report saying that their sales dipped in the 3rd quarter. Jomini says it's still too early to see any key signs.
So we still expect it to be about mid-October before we start to see some of the changes. The first plants the UAW targeted were primarily mid-sized pickup plants, Ford Ranger and Chevy Colorado and others. Those already had extraordinarily tight supply for that segment, so it's hard to see that right away.
That was Dave Kinchen reporting. We'll just stay with Fox 2 for the latest developments in this ongoing strike by the UAW.
And speaking of strikes, what's being called the largest healthcare worker strike in U.S. history is now underway. More than 75,000 union workers are now picketing at Kaiser Permanente locations in several states. The unions have demanded improved staffing and across-the-board raises over the next 4 years. Kaiser has said hospitals, emergency departments, and other health facilities will remain open despite the walkouts. The strike is expected to last 3 days.